welcome to this week's episode of The Angela Ray Show. I hope that you all have had a great week and you are looking forward to the weekend. Can you believe it? It is almost the end of August. We're just over halfway through August, and boy, when Labor Day comes, it's like heading toward the holidays. As a matter of fact, I won't call out the store, but I have already seen Christmas decorations up. Like there was a big deal when it was before Halloween, but now it's even before Labor Day. So maybe we all just need a happy holiday season to look forward to, given the challenges of the last 18 to 19 months. For those of you who will be catching our show live on today, do me a favor, go ahead and slide into the comments, especially on Facebook. Let me know, what is your favorite holiday? I don't want to assume that everyone's favorite holiday is Christmas like mine, so I'm just curious. Let me know what your favorite holiday is. For those of you who will be catching this broadcast a little bit later on the replay, make sure that you hashtag replay in the comments, because I love to go back after the broadcast in the next few days and show those of you who are catching the broadcast later a little bit of love. Well, you know what we do here at the Angela Ray Show. We get the party started right each week with our Ray of Motivation moment. And for tonight's Ray of Motivation moment, I just want to challenge you to consider whether or not the things in your life you're being released from or being rejected from. Have you been released from something? Or have you been rejected from something? You know, it's so important for us to make sure that we are in alignment with what we say our goals are, our dreams, our values, our morals, and the path that we profess to be on. You know, sometimes we may feel that friends have rejected us, maybe a spouse, a partner, even a job. But if you're truly in alignment and you're paying attention to what you're saying, what you are professing, what you're praying for, you can discern within whether or not it's truly rejection or whether you've just simply been released from that particular season in your life. And I think it's important that we take the time to process whether it is true rejection or release. And honestly, I feel like there are no mistakes. There are just moments of lessons or lessons that we have to repeat if we didn't learn the first time. So for tonight's Ray of Motivation moment, I just want to challenge you to meditate each time you find yourself in a different season, whether you are no longer in a circle, whether you're no longer in a job, whether you're no longer even in a church or a place of worship. Find out for yourself whether or not you've been released or whether you've been rejected. And that is tonight's Ray of Motivation moment. Well, I am really excited to continue celebrating National Wellness Month as well as National Black Business Month on tonight with my guest. She is a master communicator and she is an entrepreneur, but these days she's been focused her energies on mindfulness and healing work. Her goal is to help clients embrace their true selves by incorporating resources like yoga as well as meditation. So, please help me welcome to the Angela Ray Show on tonight, Chanda Floyd-Bryant. Chanda, thank you so much for being on this show tonight.
Peace. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so delighted and incredibly grateful for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, I know that your background is in mass communications, but in the past few years, you've made a slight shift, if you will. Maybe you've come to a fork in the road where your true passions lie. Talk a little bit about how you got involved in wellness.
Well, I think that for me, it has always been a part of my journey. But in years recent, I have really embraced it. I've always been a person of a positive mindset, always willing to help edify others, and always trying to help others be the best version of themselves. And so for me, I think it's important to be able to understand kind of where your passion lies and what your gift and what your calling is. And so it's kind of been like, Chanda, Shonda, it's been calling me. And so at some point, you have to give in, right? You have to answer, you have to be obedient, you have to embrace what God has blessed you with in terms of gifts, and you have to be able to share them to bless the world with them. And so I have been going through a positive mindset, a shift, if you will, and a shift because we're in a space now in the world that everyone just needs a little mindfulness, right? Everyone needs to just kind of pause and quiet themselves so that you can really understand what your true purpose is here on earth in this life. And so I'm just excited that the time has come for me to be able to share my gift, and to most importantly, empower others and to hopefully help them share theirs.
All right. Well, I'm going to shout out some people who are checking in tonight. Mr. Hollis, I have not had an opportunity to talk to you in a while, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I know your husband is a chef, but I kind of think that you do something in wellness. So let me know that. Hey, Joanna, thank you so much for being on the show tonight, for tuning in. Now, Shonda, I want to follow up on what you just said, because that kind of leads me a little bit into my next question. You know, right now we're still in the midst of a pandemic. I think earlier this year we thought it was going to be over, but we are still in the midst of a pandemic. As a matter of fact, there's almost like tensions are at an all-time high. Students are in schools, students are on campuses and colleges. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask, get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. Whether or not we should be keeping people in homes, or just all of this back and forth. I do believe that wellness can impact kind of the guidelines, everything that we've been told to do to help keep ourselves healthy and well. Wellness can impact that. So I just want to get your input. How do you think wellness plays a role in our overall health despite the pandemic?
Yeah, I think wellness is it. I mean, because if we're not in a space where our mind, body, and energy is thriving, then we're no good to ourselves, and we're no good to those in which we empower and we engage with every day, be it our families, be it our church members, be it the folks in our community, be it our neighbors. So we have to be able to take care ourselves, not just the physical, but the mental and the emotional. And so I think that when we kind of break it down in those areas and we're being intentional about making sure that we're pouring into ourselves so that we can be the best version of ourselves, when we're taking the time when we're eating to do mindfulness eating, when we're taking the time to just quiet the mind, when we're taking the time to just do a quiet walk around the neighborhood, all those things play into the well-being of ourselves. And I think it really helps us to, one, be the better version of ourselves, but also being able to be in a position to bless others and to help them be the better person, be the better version of themselves. So I think that wellness is so important, and it should be a part of who we are so that we can be, again, the best version of ourselves.
That sounds like a plan, like what we should be doing. Now, I'm just curious, what would you say is one thing that everyone could do to impact their wellness in a positive way?
I think just pausing. Today is Be Well Wednesday, and one of the things that I shared is really finding that quiet space, like really taking the time to be silent, taking the time to really, refresh, to unplug so that you can be refreshed, you can be re-energized. I think because we live in a world where it's so fast paced and we got to have it now, we got to have the popcorn in 2 minutes, we got to have the dinner in 2 minutes. I mean, but sometimes it's those quiet moments that we really see the light. Like it's in the quiet moments that we're really most creative. It's in those quiet times that we really get a better understanding of who we are. So I think, just being intentional about quieting the mind, because I know, and I'm taking my own advice here, so I'm not telling you all anything that I'm not practicing, but really just taking the time to quiet your mind, just to be still, just to be you, just to be in the space so that you can hear whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing. Because some of us, we're so busy, like we're doing the busy work, that we miss the blessing, right? We're so busy.
Ooh, say that again.
Yeah, so we done moved and the blessing was over here, but because we weren't still, we missed it. And so just being able to quiet the mind, just to be still and to trust the process.
That just blessed me so much right there. Just that statement. Now, let me ask you this before I tell people that we about to pass the collection plate, because you just blessed me so much with that one. What do you think is one thing that most people do that is actually hurting their overall wellness?
Ooh, that's a really good question. What are people doing to overall? I think not really being like people are saying, yeah, I'm in this wellness space and I'm, doing all these things, but are you really being true to yourself in the wellness space? Like, because everybody, like, wellness is this overutilized word now. And so, what does it really mean? I think to really understand what wellness is and to truly practice it is very powerful. I mean, saying it and kind of doing it and believing that you're on this wellness kick, but you're really not. I think that's sometimes where we might fall short. Like, yeah, everybody's doing wellness, but like, are you really doing wellness? Are you really being true to who you are so that you can be the best version of yourself? So I think we kind of use that word wellness. We just kind of throw it around, but it's such a powerful word and it means so much. Wellness is, your mind, your body, your spirit, your energy. And so, again, I don't think that we are as intentional as we should be when it comes to the full spectrum of wellness.
Now, just a moment ago, you were talking about just, quieting the mind. And so I'm just curious because I have a big event coming up in a few days. And I know it's one of the reasons why I'm not sleeping, because my mind is not quiet. And so sometimes I'll just so that I feel like I can get it out of my mind, I'll be like, okay, let me just get up. I'll make a note on my phone so that I can stop thinking about this. But what are some suggestions you might have, techniques that people can use to truly quiet their mind?
Yeah, and that's a really good question. Our breath work is always just, it's the one constant thing that we have. We have breath in our body, and so if we are intentional about our breath work, and really kind of tying in that quiet pause, that silence for a moment, just really taking the time just to take a quick inhale, just to inhale and just to hold it and just to exhale all the negative energy and all the negative vibes, and then just to kind of hold that there and then inhale again, and just really focusing on our breath work can really help to quiet the mind. I've also found that orienting has been something that's been very powerful to me. It's a really, really basic resource, but I found it to bring calm to my space when I'm feeling anxious. And so basically, what I'll do is wherever I am in my space is really orienting, is just that, really understanding where you are in your space, where you are in the present moment, what is around you. And really just taking just taking the time to pause. And I'm orienting right now, so I'm looking up and I'm gazing up at the ceiling, and I notice the ceiling, I notice the colors, I notice the dimensions. And as I'm noticing these things, I'm just turning my head, noticing all the colors in the room, all the dimensions, all the designs. And so I'm gazing all the way to the back of the room. And then I'm going to bring my gaze all the way up around again. And I tell you, when I do that, it's something that just comes, a peace just comes over me just with orienting in the space that I'm in. And so sometimes when I'm walking, I know folks may be like, what's wrong with that chick? Because I'm looking up at the sky, and then I see the trees, and then I see the shapes in the sky, and then I see the limbs, and then I see the cars, and then I see the sidewalk, and then I see the ground, and then I see someone walking, and then I'll just bring my gaze back around, and that in that moment, I just feel a spirit of peacefulness. And so that works for me. That's a great resource. Orienting, grounding myself is really has been really helpful, where I'm really just connecting with Mother Earth, just really allowing myself to be in this present moment, in this space, and allowing my body to feel the earth, to feel the connection, to be one with it, and then just relaxing, just letting my body just be in this space. I have found those three resources to be so powerful and so relaxing and so calming, because I am dealing with anxiety myself. I mean, I have to keep it real. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm dealing with anxiety myself. And so I found that these resources have been very helpful to me. And they've allowed me, because some folks, I need to get on some, some medication. Yes, some of us may need some medication, but others we could just use those simple resources to allow ourselves to come back to center, to allow ourselves to be back on track, to allow ourselves to be calm. Because I know that our minds are racing all the time, but just taking the time, it could just be 30 seconds of just breath work, inhaling, holding, exhaling, and then you're giving yourself some positive affirmations. I'm inhaling all the positive energy and the light. I'm exhaling all the negative energy that I am, holding inside my body. I'm releasing everything that is not helpful and bringing light and love to me. And so just really that self-talk, that meditation moment, that meditative moment, which could be 30 seconds or a minute, orienting and just grounding myself. Those are resources that I find very helpful.
Okay. That was okay. That was a lot. Now
Was that
I
a whole session? Was that a whole session?
it was. So, okay, I wasn't familiar with orienting. I've heard of grounding, and I don't know why I haven't done it, but because as a kid, in my grandmama's house, I did grounding all the time, especially in the summertime. Do you think that our lifestyles, I mean, of course, we love our smart devices and we love being connected, but it seems like, based on what you're saying, the simplicity of life is
Mhm.
where we get the wellness from. That yes, it's great to
Absolutely.
have a cell phone and to have the iPod. I don't know who has, I still have an iPod because I'm not team iPhone, but you have all these devices and you have these distractions. And I'm gonna be honest, oftentimes when I'm walking, I'm usually listening to music. Most of the time I'm on Pandora, but it sounds like what you're saying is just taking in nature or taking
Oh
in
my.
wherever I'm walking, looking at and noticing everything that's around.
Oh yeah, and that is so beautiful to experience. And when I'm walking, sometimes I listen to music, but sometimes I listen to the music of the atmosphere, and that is a melodic sound. And I would encourage everybody to do that. Let's just get back to the basics. You hear, because my grandbaby goes walking with us sometimes, and I'm like, do you hear the birds? Do you hear the crickets? Do you hear the birds interacting and talking to each other? Do you hear the trees flowing? Do you hear the water in the lake? Like, those things feel good to me. And that's meditation right there. Just really taking the time to take in all of nature that we've been blessed with, right? Just taking advantage of that vitamin D. I know I'm in the house a lot, and I have to get out because it's something about that sun. It's something about that vitamin D. When it hits my body, I feel energized. I mean, it's just natural energy that I feel. And so, just going outside and just taking a walk, and just again orienting or just listening to the sounds that are in the atmosphere. It's beautiful.
Uh, Liliana says she's so right. I love breath work, sound therapy. I've heard of sound therapy and not exactly familiar with it. Aromatherapy, journaling. This all works to help calm the mind. Being thankful and present is sometimes a struggle, but being deliberate helps. All right, y'all are
Absolutely.
inspiring me. And I've journaled off and on for years. I'm not as diligent doing it every day as I once was, but yeah, I probably have 15 finished journals like up in a box somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah, from journaling over the years. So,
Wow. That's a whole book, sis. That's a whole. Just
girl, don't
saying.
nobody want to read the stuff I wrote up in there. I promise
Well,
you.
I'm just saying
That's
it's a story
published
for
later.
everybody. It's a story for everybody. And that's the thing too. That really prompted me to be on this wellness journey, is to really tell my story and to walk in my truth, because we've all experienced some form of trauma, be it, small or big. We've all experienced trauma. And so really just trying to be true to myself, because I think we often just kind of cover it up and we walk in this light and it's like, oh yeah, we're fine. It's like, no, you're not. And when you don't deal with your issues will soon deal with you. Amen. Say it.
Amen.
And so really just helping people to process through that as well, because I'm 50 years old and I still got some old luggage that's sitting over here in the corner that I need to process. And so I think because I am on this personal wellness journey myself, I can really talk the talk and walk the walk. I'm not just saying, well, you should be doing this. No, whatever I'm telling you, I am doing, and it has been helpful. And so I'm excited about the space. I do operate from a spirit of gratitude. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. When it came, you called. I'm like, okay, Lord, you said, you asked, I asked, and it's like, here it is. And it's like, you better get on that call at 8 o'clock, be ready at 7:45, because this is it. And you have a word that somebody needs to hear. And so I'm just being able to recognize, to take the cues when they come, to quiet the mind, to know when there's an opportunity or not, and to know when it's the right time to be able to share my story, and to share my passion, basically. So I'm excited, and I'm so looking forward to what the future holds for Be Genuine, Be Kind.
Okay, so you have a question from Edwin. In the Black community, we are taught to pray and pray away everything and leave it to God. What are your feelings about spirituality and wellness? I'm assuming
Well,
he means together.
yeah, that's a great question, and I think for me, because everybody is, I mean, this, I don't speak for everybody. This is just my personal opinion, but I think for me, you can't have one without the other, right? Because I pray to God every day, and I thank Him so much for the gift. I thank Him so much for the blessings. I thank Him for the struggles, right? And I know from which my blessings come. So I think that for me, spirituality is just as important as wellness, and wellness is just as important as spirituality. And at some point, you really got to bring the two together and recognize that when you do that, then you're kind of operating in a totally different realm. And I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and it's like, when you're putting together spirituality and wellness, I feel like you're operating at a higher level of consciousness, right? That you're allowing your mind and your brain to really open up to see the world in a totally different way. Like, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I would have experienced something, and I would have looked at it totally different. But today, because I'm operating at a higher level of consciousness, I see it a little bit different. I'm taking the time to say, you know what? Maybe that person has some stuff going on, and they got some issues. They got a trash bag over in the corner that they're dealing with. So let me hold space for that person and recognize that might not be their true person. This might not be who I see, that's responding that way. But just recognizing that we all have to hold space for each other, because you don't know what's going on in the other person's home, in their mind, in their energy system. And so I think that spirituality and wellness it's one in the same to me. Like, you can't have one without the other. And I don't know if I answered your question.
So, and Edwin certainly follow up if you want more insight on that. So, I'm just curious. How would you say diet impacts wellness? Right now, there's the keto diet. There's some people who are vegan. There's some people who are vegetarians. There's pescatarians. There are people who are on the South Beach diet, or the Daniels fast, or the cabbage soup diet. There's, you name it. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry in terms of just diet itself. And when I say that's dieting, but when I mention diet, I specifically mean what we take in our bodies. So
Mhm.
how would you say what we take in our bodies impacts wellness?
Oh, it's everything. Like, I think, diets are cool, but diets are temporary, because as soon as you get off that diet, right, about 3-4 months later, you're gonna have to re-diet again. Right. And so personally, I've never been one to diet. I think it's a lifestyle. I think you have to be intentional about what you put in your body. I know that for me, based on my blood type, because there is a book that's called Eat Right for Your Blood Type, and I'm O positive, and so it's like certain meats, like I think pork and beef, I can't. Those don't work well with my system, so I'm just a chicken and fish type of person. But I know that I can't do a lot of starches. I can't do dairy, and so just knowing my body, and knowing what it needs. I'm being more intentional about feeding my body what it needs, even if I don't like it. Like, I mean, just really being intentional about making sure I'm getting up in the morning, I'm drinking water, I'm putting a drop of lemon, and vinegar in my water. I'm taking in water, like real basic stuff, y'all. Like eating me an apple, midday, because we know the more you eat in terms of snacks, your body, your metabolism is burning that. And so I think just knowing the benefits of some of the foods that we eat even the herbs that we put in our body, just making sure that they're benefiting us. And I think just doing research on that, and I'm doing more research around foods and medicine versus supplements, because I'm one to take my vitamins every day. I'm doing B12, I'm doing D3, I'm doing vitamin E, I'm doing rose hip, I'm doing B12, I'm doing iodine. So just knowing kind of where who I am and what my body makeup is, and just knowing what things are going to benefit me, because all things don't work for all people. So just knowing your body, and just really paying attention. I think, for me, when I drink dairy, like I get congested, I have asthma, and it causes a lot of mucus in the body. And so recognizing that, I do a lot of ginger, I'm what else am I doing? I'm doing ginger. I'm doing, of course, everybody's doing elderberry. Doing echinacea. I'm doing zinc. So I think your diet is just as important as the mindfulness piece, because what you're putting in your body is what you get out of it.
Yeah, definitely. So one other question as it relates to the pandemic. What do you think the long-term impact of this time? I don't mean specifically the virus. I don't specifically mean COVID, but the overall impact of this pandemic. What do you think the overall impact of this is going to be long term on wellness?
I think that this is the moment. This is the moment to for the wellness light to shine. Because I just have to speak from experience. Like, when the pandemic first hit, it was like, okay, yeah, we locked down, and then after a while, it's like, okay, we still in the house. And I, I'm becoming anxious, right? I'm feeling a lot of anxiety, and I really had to bring light to that. And I feel like a lot of people are experiencing anxiety. A lot of people are experiencing depression in some forms. A lot of people are just kind of at wit's end and don't really know what to do. And so I think that this is a perfect moment to allow people to empower them, right? To empower them with the information and resources that they need, in order for them to be a whole person, right? To be the better version of themselves. So I think that this pandemic will allow people to really go inward, and to really focus on their gifts and talents. To really, I've seen so many, you know, outside of the wellness piece, I've seen so many businesses thrive because we have the time. Like at some point, all of us were quieted, right? We were in that quiet space, but we had to just go inward. We had to go inward, and we had to pull from within. And so I think even when it comes to wellness, I think we're going to see a lot more innovation around the wellness space. I think we're going to see some really innovative ideas and businesses that will be successful and thrive. And so hopefully I'll be one of those. But I really see wellness as this huge platform on so many different levels: entertainment, in the school system, on the field with our football players, whether it be professional, in the school system. I just think it's going to be a relevant issue like it is now, or a relevant point, and it's going to be something that we're going to need, and we're not going to be able to live without. So
Let's say that there's someone who's watching, whether they're watching now live or watching on the replay, and he or she, maybe they never really thought about wellness. How would you tell them to get started? What's that first step that they could take towards wellness?
I would just say, going back to the most simplistic thing, and that is your breath. Like, I mean, just, taking 5 minutes every day just to take time, whether it's in your closet, whether it's in your car, whether you're in the bathroom, just taking that time to just breathe, to just inhale and exhale. Just to inhale and exhale. I think starting there, and then when you start to do that, you'll feel different, and you'll have a little bit more clarity in your thought process. So I would just say start with just 5 minutes a day, and just write down 4 or 5 affirmations. And when you're doing your breath work, when you inhale and you exhale, you say an affirmation, I am worthy. You inhale and exhale, I deserve everything that God has for me. You inhale and you exhale, I am blessed and highly favored. You inhale and you exhale, I am grateful for all the things that I have and all those things that I will have. So I think if you do that every day for 5 minutes, you'll want more and you'll want more.
Mm.
Begin to explore. You'll begin to explore different ways because it's such a great feeling and it doesn't take, it's effortless, right? You don't even have to really lift the finger, lift the thumb. It doesn't take any muscle power. It's just the intention of doing it every day. And once you start to do that, it'll be a routine. It'll be a way of life. It'll be a lifestyle, and you'll want to begin to do more and more and more. And so, hey, I do Mindful Monday, and I do a Be Well Wednesday, and we're hopefully getting back to the meditation session. We used to do meditation every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. But sometimes when the people don't come to you, you got to go to them and you got to reinvent yourself. And so we use powerful words and messages to edify and to empower others. But we're hoping that we'll be able to get back into that meditation session live time, of course, via Zoom. And then beyond that, really moving into the yoga space and the movement and the breath work and just kind of bringing them all together. So hopefully that inspires someone to get started. You can do it tonight if you want before you go to bed. You could do it throughout the day. You could do it in the morning. Whatever it is, I would just say do it on a consistent basis and be intentional about it.
Well, that is a great word. Intentional, being intentional. It's a great way to get started. And if you get started and you find yourself wanting more, be sure to connect with Chanda on Instagram at Be Genuine, Be Kind. It's been scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Chanda Floyd-Bryant, it has been an absolute delight to have you on tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in and blessing us with these words of wisdom and with these very simplistic but powerful practices that we can incorporate in our daily lives as we celebrate not just National Wellness Month, but enacting wellness as a lifestyle.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Peace and blessings, love and light to you and your beautiful audience. And I look forward to seeing you all in the wellness space very soon. Take care and be well, everybody. Peace.
Be well. Have a great night, Chanda.
Thank you. You too.
Well, that is it for this week's Angela Ray Show. As always, I would like to remind you of Ray of Motivation number 54. Cleaning a mirror does not change the person who is reflected in it. Until next time, I encourage you all to go out and be the change. Have a great week.